What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm here with a bit of a blast from the past. But we're taking it to the Master Duel. So yes, we have a Master Duels deck profile for the Harpies. I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for this. The reason why it's taking so long is I think everyone knows Master Duel deck profiles can be a nuisance because they take so much time to build, and you have to, you know, it's a lot. It is a lot. Trust me. Um, so I've been basically just building up stuff right now to get to a point in Master Duel where I have a full functioning Harpie deck, and I'm basically at that point now. The only exception is I don't have Utopia Engine. So I don't have my Ray, I don't have Utopia. Well, I have Utopia, but I don't have Ray. I don't have, excuse me, I don't have Lightning. Outside of that, I mean, I have a lot of fillers to replace those cards for right now till those other cards come in. So we'll still be perfectly fine. But with that said, let me go ahead and we go into the deck profile itself, and then I'll go over everything once I do that. So starting off is 3 copies of Harpie Channeler, 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer, 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1, 2 copies of Harpie Oracle, 1 copy each of Harpie Queen, Harpie Dancer, Harpie Harpers, and Harpie Lady Sisters. 1 copy of Barrier Sexual Stormwind, 1 copy of Miss Valley Apex Avian, and 1 copy of Miss Valley Thunderbird. To round it off is the last monster in the main deck, and that is 3 copies of the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. For the spell cards, 3 copies of Hysteric Sign, 3 copies of Elegant Egotist, 2 copies of Harpie's Hunting Ground, 1 copy of Harpie's Feather Duster, 1 copy of Harpie's Feather Rest, 1 copy of Alluring Mirror Split, 2 copies of Winged Requital, and 2 copies of Swallow's Nest. For the trap cards, we got 3 copies of Harpie's Feather Storm and 1 copy of Hysteric Party. For the extra decks, 2 copies of Cyber Slash Harpie Lady, 2 copies of Harpie Conductor, 2 copies of Fairy Jeets, The Burden Blossom, 1 copy of Union Carrier, 1 copy of Great Fly, 1 copy of Samord, the Bird of Sovereignty, 1 copy of Gem Knight Pearl, 1 copy of Lightning Chidori, 1 copy of Ice B05, 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, 1 copy of number 70 Malevolent Sin, and 1 copy of Divine Arsenal AC Sky Thunder. So that pretty much rounds out the entire deck, main and extra. And as you can tell, yes, there is no side deck. You are 100% inverse to your main in your extract. So that's kind of where a lot of the things that I wanted to do, unfortunately, just aren't here. We might see them in the update that will add the cups, because there was a recent announcement that the cups were going to be added to the Yu-Gi-Oh series. So I'm very excited about that once it comes. But for right now, let's talk about our Harpies as they are. So the copies of Harpie Chandler. She is, of course, she's the summoner of the Harpie archetype. So discard a Harpie card from your hands to summon another Harpie monster from your deck, which works very well with all of the main components to the archetype, both for the discard and for the summon. Harpie Perfumer. She's basically your other starting lineup monster, if not one of your biggest assets, because she has the ability to search for spells and traps that will specifically list the Harpie Lady Sisters in its text and add it from your deck to your hand. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster when you activate this card's effect, that you're able to add an additional card. So with cards like Harpie Lady Sisters and Cyber Slash Harpie Lady, it makes it very much viable for Perfumer to go and get multiple cards. Primarily, you want Elegant Egotist as much as possible, with Hunting Ground and Harpie's Feather as backup for just in case scenarios. Harpie Lady 1, being the Elegant Egotist target outside of Sisters, she's mainly here for the power bonus. I am not running, the Unexpected Die variant, and um, I'm not running Insected Die, and I'm not running Cyber Harpie, because Harpie Lady 1 just happens to fit more into what I need her to do, which is just be a power boost. Harpie Oracle. Now, with the number of these high level Harpie monsters in the deck, I had to put in an Oracle so that I had to put in two Oracles, but not one, because I wanted to speed up the process of another Harpie Lady being on the field and an easier social summon. Because when you go into your Synchro play or you go into your Harpie Sisters, you have something to extend more plays onto the board and get a lot of things going from when you want to go into your extra. Harpie Lady Sisters. Although this is probably one of the two bricks you don't want to draw into, Harpie Lady Sisters' main purpose is to be someone off about like an egotist so that Harpie, Perfumer, and Oracle have someone to bounce the summon effects that they have off of. Whether it's the high level of the Harpie channeler that has the dragon on board, or Cyber slash Harpie Lady, you at least want another option for another beat stick, essentially getting it off of ego. That said, I was initially running Triangle Ecstasy Spark to fit into this as another target for Perfumer and Oracle to retrieve a search. That is still an option if you want to play around with it, but I am still keeping the sisters in just for the time being till we can get, some more additional stuff added to help support out. Now, with that said, we'll have your Harpie Queen to help search for hunting ground, Harpie Dancer to bounce back our monsters so that we can put other ones on the board to dodge a lot of hit and misses, as well as being able to pop multiple back row whenever it's needed. The Harpie Harpist. This is another monster that is in the deck I don't one of, only for the simple fact that the discard target ability is primarily all you really need her for. Sadly enough, Harpie Dancer and Harpie Queen were the ones that got the axe in my main deck because I honestly just did not need the relative use of the one turn bounce in the search for hunting ground when I have so many different resources to do that if an instant need. But because Duel Links does not have Harpie Pet Dragon for some fire, I still have to rock out with Queen and Dancer. With that said, we move on to, of course, the lock between barriers such as Stormwind, Mist Valley, Apex, Avian, which are two of your bigger summons off of some more deeper Sulfur Team. While Avian negates effects once per chain, you have the ability of the barrier statue to stop your opponent from such summoning monsters who are not of the wind attributes, which can also make him a free target if needed. But here's the thing: if you don't put him in attack mode and you have enough monsters to give him more attack points, the barrier statue can stand on its own. Mist Valley Thunderbird. While knowing that the Union Carrier has not been forbidden in the game, might as well take advantage of the Avion Thunderbird loop because someone has to. At a cost of returning this card from the field to the hand, you can special summon this monster once again. Although it won't be able to attack, that's kind of the point. For once for Thunderbird hits the field, but once some more hits the field, you can carrier to target some more, so you can grab the Thunderbird. And at your end phase, all you have to do is summon your Mist Valley Apex Avian and at least conduct enough stuff on the field to make sure that your monsters in spell and trap cards don't have any backlash to them while they're on the board. So the last thing is the Ash Awesome Joyous Ring. This is to stop your opponent from searching special summoning from the deck or trying to send cards from their deck to the grave. With that said, we move on to the spells. We got 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. This card is awesome for the Harpies. Being able to add elegant egotists from your deck or graveyard to your hand, or the ability to search for Harpie cards at the end of the turn when this card is sent from your hand or from to the graveyard. Which, in case in point, if you use this card in conjunction with cards like Harpie Conductor or Harpie's Hunting Ground, it's a basic +3. Only downside is that you can't use both abilities in the same turn, so be careful which ones you use. Elegant Egotist. With enough cards in the archetype now to search for this card, a massive amount of 3 is definitely needed, so you can do optimal synchro, exceed, and even link plays. But the fact that this card does not have a once per turn clause on it, be very happy that it does have that. You have a ton of summoning targets for this. Although it would be nice to have more targets, Elegant its only real purpose is to special summon Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters, which there's a total whopping of 4. Now, why would you need a set of 3? This simple, just in case you want to recycle your Harpie Ladies and you want to get more plays in. Remember, Perfumer, Oracle, and Sign can all get this one card just so that you can have more of a swarm to your arsenal. And that arsenal can be very deadly if left unchecked. Harpie's Hunting Ground, just basic field spell removal of spells and trap cards. It's still relatively used to this day and still keeps Harpies on the go when it comes to big hefty cards with such a little payoff. With the 200 attack and defense buff, which can be a hit or miss, the ability to destroy spells and trap cards with Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal special summoning can be very, very viable in cards against decks like Eldritch, which tend to do a ton of background setting. So keep that in mind. Harpie's Feather Duster, massive background removal in the form of one of the most, and if not the strongest of the forbidden cards that relatively sees play right now because it's Harpie's Feather Duster. In addition to that, I mean, let's be real. This coming back is a lot better than Heavy Storm because Pendulum would definitely benefit from Heavy Storm, especially if you're playing Pendulum. And I don't think it's on one side. Harpie's Feather Ass. This is just the archetype's Padaverse. With exchange of 3 for 1, but if you have a 5 or higher, it's a 2. It's a 3 for 2. Just depending on what you'll get, it's, safe than sorry. But you're mainly using this if you want to recycle your Harpie Ladies, maybe your Perfumer, your Channelers, so that you can get them back for other plays. Speaking of other plays, the Alluring Mirror Split, which is basically only here for being popped by Hunting Ground, to give you an extension of a special summon without having to do so much for resources. That's primarily what I'm using it for. This allows this is to tag out Harpie Ladies or the barrier statue for other cards, or to tag in that barrier statue when it's needed. And the Ring Replica is here for the additional draw power. Harpie's Feather Storm. If there's any lethal trap card in the Yu-Gi-Oh series that you definitely need to be worried for, it is the Feathers of the Harpies. For Harpie's Feather Storm is honestly one of the most powerful trap cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh game right now. For the fact that if you have a Winged Beast, you can negate the activation of all your opponent's monsters' effects until the end of the turn. Not to mention, if a Harpie monster is in play, you can activate this card from your hand without any issues. And the fact that if it's destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can, while the special attack card is on, you can just add Harpie Feather Duster from your deck or your graveyard back to your hand. So this basically is a really nasty trap card with a lot of really nasty effects attached to it to give you even more nastier things. Be mindful that once we get a Harpie card that can search for just Harpie cards in general without so much cost to it, ooh, this thing's gonna be really, really nasty. Hysteric Party, the comeback card of the century. So, for those who are wondering why are you only running one, well, it is a continuous track that can be a little slow. But the minute this card goes, you're basically swarming your opponent with nothing but Harpie Ladies. Imagine the fact that we have so many new targets now than we once did before. Remember, we only had like 1 or 2 targets, which was any monster whose name was always Harpie Lady and Harpie Queen. I remember those days. Alright, we move on to the extra deck with the boss monster of the archetype, the Cyber Slash Harpie Lady. For a cost of a Harpie monster and another Harpie monster, you basically get a free synchro of a 2600 beat stick that can bounce cards away. Definitely useful in a lot of situations and can even be triggered by your own cards. For being the highest stated base Harpie Lady, this is definitely one I would suggest playing. Now, I'm only playing 2 because 3 is too cloggy and 1 is just not fast enough. And in case you do need the second, another option in case it gets destroyed, definitely take advantage of having 2 instead of 1. Speaking of which, Harpie Conductor, Conductor. For more of the best defense is a good, best offense is a good defense. I rarely summon Conductor in most cases. The only real reason why she is here is fluctuating the fact that if you can go into some work with multiple Harpie Ladies, go for it. And not to mention, it'll fill up the graveyard if it's ever needed for another Harpie monster to be there. Harpie Conductor's base stats aren't too spectacular, but the ability to share your own spells and tarot cards to protect your Harpie monsters can be very beneficial with cards like Hysteric Sign and Alarming Mirror Split. We move on, of course, to the Union Carrier, and this is just an attachment for Miss Valley Thunderbird so that it's able to be on the board. So Miss Valley Apex Avian can use its ability to bounce the Thunderbird so you can have stuff to negate. So you have something to help you negate cards. Other than that, there's not a really big use for the Union Carrier. And honestly, if I had the extra gems, this would probably be an IP Masquerade just so that we can turn them into something bigger. Which also, case in point, hurts there because I could have put in Access Go Talker to be a target. If I did the IP Masquerade. Fairy Teeth, the Red Blossom is just a link monster to help you extend and link climb into a lot of your link threes. Primarily your biggest target, some more Grouper of Sovereignty, where Fairy Teeth helps out. She also has her little bit of hand correction, where she can allow you to draw one card and then send one card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. So if you draw into something you don't want in your hand, she's here to help correct it. The Bird of Sovereignty. Sadly enough, forbidden in the TCG as of this time at the time of this recording. RIP to the bird, the god of birds. For Samorg's archetype is gonna really hurt from this. Harpies are gonna hurt from this because this is literally one of our big go-to plays. And you basically can have Tri-Brigade to thank for it being forbidden because it's literally that broken to help you speed up the process. Like I said, you only really use Firjeet to summon another monster to help you climb into this. And 9 out of 10, that monster she's summoning is going to be wind. That way, you can reach into this. I believe the other way is to use the effect of the Tri-Brigade monsters, so that if you have a Nerval in the graveyard, you can banish them up so that you can get into some more without having to do so much. Also using Nerval as a target as well. Going into the extra deck in terms of the Exceed monsters, we have a Beat Stick in the form of Gemini Pearl. We have some removal in the form of another very recurring cast member for the Harpies, the Lightning Chidori, who on its summon can send set cards to the bottom of the deck, and then wants to turn detach its material to send a face-up card on your opponent's side of the field to the top of the deck. The ICB's Zero Fine to be a massive skill drain when she triggers her ability, and getting 200 attack points for every face-up card on the board, making her a nasty beat stick to run into. The ever faithful servant of Harpie Lady, Harpie's pet Phantasmal Dragon, can only be a rare occurrence if you're actually just trying to use something to beat into your opponent. While Phantasmal Dragon takes the most out of any of the Exceed monsters in the extra deck right now with a whopping total of 3 material, it's probably more so of an in-game situation when you want to just beat out your opponent to get to game. While this monster makes sure that none of your Harpie monsters are targeted for card effects or for a battle, Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon was technically a boss monster and then was easily replaced. Malevolent Sin is here to get rid of cards. Sadly enough, Malevolent Sin isn't that good outside of Duel Links. So just keep that in mind. And like I said earlier, this is more so a placeholder until I get the other cards, which I think one of them is Babushka, who itself is just all out. And we have the forms of Dolazu Sky Thunder, who definitely we're not going to skip over for the fact that this monster is basically here to attach itself to any Exceed monster and it just gain more material so it can do its massive removal. Before I forget anyone, I'm so sorry, Great Fly. That's how forgettable Great Fly was once more. Link 2 monsters started to come out, and Harpie's got Conductor. For Great Fly is only here to be a bit of a better boost than Harpie Lady 1. He also can retrieve one monsters when he's up from the field to the graveyard of a battle card effect, so that's something you can easily take advantage of if that's ever a situation. But for the most part, like I said, Great Fly, additional attack, 500 attack and defense to all wind, and a decrease of 400 attack and defense for all earth. While it's not the most pliable thing, it was still the most useful setup for Harpies to conductor. And it's still relatively useful for right now in Master Duel. Alright, so with that said, that pretty much wraps up my Master Duel deck profile for you guys, and I hope you all enjoy it. So, if you guys want to catch me playing this deck live, please do catch me on twitch.tv/HarpiePlayerJoe, where I play my decks live. Other than that, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel as it helps me out tremendously. Hit the notification bell next to the subscription button, which y'all should be hitting as well, to get notified of when I do upload more content. In the description box below is all of my social media links. Please, 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 if you ever get the chance and you want to interact with me on social media, those are the links to follow. I do have to change the Discord one because it's actually broken. I need to fix it. And then if you guys want to catch me live, like I said, catch me on twitch.tv/HarpiePlayerShow. And if you guys want to see the archive channel, the link is there as well, so you guys can watch VODs of me and my live streams. So thanks everybody for watching. I'll definitely catch you guys next time. HPJ signing out. Take care.